The following is a presentation of the Arizona Cardinals Broadcast Network.
Detail your work, let's go!
This is Cards HQ. From team headquarters in Tempe, your host, Jody Jackson.
2 weeks into the season, the Cardinals are wondering what went wrong. It is back to the drawing board again after a 34-0 loss to the LA Rams. Hi everyone and welcome to Cards HQ. I'm Jody Jackson. 0-2 is not the way anyone envisioned the start to the season, and there are many ways to describe the Cardinals' ineptitude on Sunday in LA. But it pains me to give you one stat that really tells the story. The Cardinals did not cross midfield until the final 30 seconds of this game. On Monday, head coach Steve Wilks talked to offensive coordinator Mike McCoy and told the media they would be scaling back a bit on offense, trying to avoid as many mistakes and allowing the players to play faster. Also, when asked about a quarterback change, he said not all of the issues are attributed to Sam Bradford, so it does not appear a quarterback change is imminent. Let's get to our pivotal moment. The Cardinals visit historic LA Coliseum for the second time since the Rams moved back to LA. Last year's game was in London. Sadly, the result would be almost identical. First quarter, perhaps one improvement from week one, the run defense. The Cardinals held Todd Gurley to 42 yards on the ground for a 2.2-yard average. So the Cardinals get an early stop and a first down when Sam Bradford found Christian Kirk for 10 yards. But this would be the farthest the Cardinals would get into Rams territory until under a minute left in the game. For the second week in a row, the game would be decided in the second quarter. The first points of the game come on this Todd Gurley 11-yard scamper. The Rams go for two and succeed. And then on the final play of the half, 4th and 1 at the 1, no contest for Gurley. The 1-yard score and 2-point conversion put the Rams up 19-0. The offense struggled to do anything well all day. Only 5 first downs, 137 net yards, 3 for 12 on third down. Bradford was inaccurate and the running game stagnant. All told, there were 5 3-and-outs plus a 2-and-out after this interception by Sam Shields. The one bright spot from week one was special teams, but not Sunday. In LA, the Rams return man J.J. Natson had 133 yards of punt return yardage, including a 60-yard walk in the park, setting up a Rams score. A couple of defensive highlights, the play of defensive end Benson Mayowa. He sacked Jared Goff twice in the game, and Patrick Peterson picked off Goff for the 22nd interception of his career.
Snap to Goff, drops back to throw, pressure coming, Goff hit, and he gets out of there, rolls right, being chased now by Peters, and he throws right side of the end zone, and a takeaway, it is intercepted by Patrick Peterson inside the 5 at the 2-yard line, and he goes out of bounds there.
Completely forgettable afternoon in Los Angeles, and the Cardinals are searching for answers.
I don't even know where to start right now. It's just we got to do a much better job running the football. We got to do a much better job protecting. Receivers got to get off the jam at the line of scrimmage. We got to convert on third down. So we're going to go back and evaluate things as a coaching staff, evaluate the players, make sure that we have the best guys out there, put in the right position and make plays moving forward.
We just haven't played very well. We didn't even give ourselves the opportunity to score points today.
The blame is not on anybody, one individual's shoulders. It's a team game. We across the board have to do a better job, man. We can make Sam's job a heck of a lot easier, and we're just not doing that right now.
You know, Dave Pasch and Ron Wolfley are never at a loss for words, but this game had them speechless for a moment. Time to further digest this loss with more insight now from the guys who called the game, Dave Pasch and Ron Wolfley with the 2-minute drill.
Dave Pasch and Ron Wolfley with the Arizona Cardinals 2-minute drill. Where do we start? Really, where do we start? I have no idea. It was that bad today. 34-0. The Cardinals lose, and there really wasn't a bright spot.
You know, I would start with this right here, David. The pattern repeated itself, right? From week number one, of course, we saw the Cardinals defense go out against the Redskins and not give up any points. Now, it wasn't like the Redskins couldn't move the ball in the first quarter, but they didn't give up any points in that first quarter, and then they gave up 21. The same thing happened here today. Didn't give up any points in the first quarter, but, man, they hit the second quarter where the offense, once again, was struggling to move the ball in the first half, and suddenly gave up 19 points. 40 points given up in the last 2 second quarters.
It did a better job on Todd Gurley, but in short yardage, Cardinals got pushed around at the line of scrimmage. Gurley had 3 touchdowns, a couple of 2-point conversions. On the other side of the ball, Sam Bradford was inaccurate week 1, and we chalked it up to, okay, he really hasn't played in a year and almost 2 years, more than just a couple games. But then when it happens again, more red flags go up.
Yeah, absolutely. The inaccuracy of Sam Bradford was back here today. And once again, this is just something you don't see. And Sam Bradford would be the first guy to actually tell you this. He's the guy that, after that week 1 game against the Redskins, stepped forward and said, man, I don't know why I was so inaccurate. I'm going to have to find out why. But I do know this. He needs more help out of his wide receivers. He needs more help out of guys like Chad Williams, right, and J.J. Nelson. They've got to run dependable, good routes. And they also have got to be able to catch the ball when he throws it to them. So Sam Bradford, I know he was inaccurate here today again, but he needs a lot more help.
Sure, it wasn't just him. And it's really hard to say it's just one guy when you score 6 points in 2 games and give up the kind of points that the Cardinals have given up. And now they've got to face Khalil Mack and a young quarterback in Mitch Trubisky, but the good news is it's at home. In fact, the next 2 are at home, so a chance for the Cardinals to get back on track. For Ron Wolfley, I'm Dave Pasch. This has been the Arizona Cardinals 2-minute drill.
Thanks, guys. Up next, we'll go inside the numbers. Now, there was one stat that was in the Cards' favor. What was it, and how can it help them going forward? Trey Boston was mic'd up for the matchup, and we've got Mike Jurecki and Craig Grialou looking ahead to Chicago, and they take a closer look at the picture in the NFC West after 2 weeks.
Cards HQ is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
Welcome back to Cardinals headquarters. I'm Jody Jackson. You hope that in Week 17, the Cardinals are looking back and saying, hey, it was hard to believe we started the season 0-2. Is that optimistic? Maybe, but if the Cardinals can fix those leaks right now, a strong finish is still possible. The Chicago Bears come to town this week, a young quarterback and a proven pass rusher. Those topics and more now from the co-host of Cards Cover 2, Mike Jurecki and Craig Grialou.
Thanks, Jody. It's the 91st all-time meeting between the Cardinals and Bears, the only 2 founding members of the NFL still in existence. Historically, the Bears very good on defense, and that's the case it looks like this season as well. They lead the NFL in sacks with 10. Khalil Mack, his presence, MJ, certainly uplifting everyone on that side of the football.
Yeah, he's brought a lot of juice to that locker room, and you start looking at it, I mean, you got to give Ryan Pace a lot of credit. You know, maybe John Fox didn't win enough games. They bring in a new head coach, and they kept the previous defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, and they got talent. Eddie Goldman on the defensive line, Jonathan Bullard from Florida. You throw in Leonard Floyd, who played with the cast the last couple of weeks. He's kind of limited, but they're going to move Mack around, and he just brings a lot of energy to that locker room. It makes sense for the Bears. They've had Dick Butkus, Brian Urlacher, Mike Singletary, and now Khalil Mack.
And Mack also has a pick 6, as does Prince Amukamara, the former Apollo High grad out of Glendale. That came on Monday night when the Bears beat the Seahawks. Offensively now for Chicago, a first-year head coach in Matt Nagy, but a second-year quarterback in Mitchell Trubisky. This team does a lot of exotic styles offensively.
Yeah, and Nagy was with Andy Reid in Kansas City, and you see what they do with Tyreek Hill. They got 2 backs in Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen, who's more of a change of pace back. They got some receivers. They went out and saw Allen Robinson in free agency. They have Taylor Gabriel there, Anthony Miller, the Cardinals like coming out in the draft. They brought in the Eagles tight end Trey Burton. So I think Trubisky's still on the job training, but I think he's got a really good offensive-minded head coach. And then you throw in Mark Helfrich, who really came from Oregon. So their offense is a little bit different, a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of motion, so the Cardinals definitely have to be on their toes versus their heels.
Cardinals have won 2 of the last 3 matchups in the series. Now, we mentioned the Seattle game on Monday Night Football. The Seahawks now will head home for the first time. They've got the Dallas Cowboys, and this Seahawks team, they are struggling offensively. Russell Wilson sacked 6 times, both in Week 1 and Week 2.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing, and, you know, he had 2 fourth-quarter turnovers. He had the pick 6 to Prince Akamura, and then you throw in the fumble he had. That's unusual for Russell Wilson. He's been one of the better fourth quarter quarterbacks. They had 5 starters out in that game. As you mentioned, both that are back-to-back games have been on the road. You know, I don't know if this is an 8 or 9 win team. I really like what they're doing with the running game, but you can't fall behind Chris Carson. He got tired in that game because he plays on teams. Rashad Penny's the backup, C.J. Prosise. And then they have Brandon Marshall, Jerron Brown, Doug Baldwin's out. So curious to see when they get some of these guys back, but I'm sure they're going to be happy to be home.
Seahawks 0-2 to begin the year. The 49ers, as we continue in the NFC West, 1-1. They beat the Detroit Lions. Although if you talk to Richard Sherman after the ball game, because the Niners were up by so much, he views that game a loss.
Well, it counts in a win column. They obviously lost the week before. They didn't play particularly well on the road. Garoppolo didn't look like the same guy from a year ago. You know, they're going to get some guys back. Reuben Foster, they've had some injuries. You know, they've done a good job. Referring to John Lynch, you know, drafting defensive linemen. Solomon Thomas isn't getting as many reps, but when he's in there, he's productive. You know, listen, they're going to try to build one side of the ball, but they're hoping Garoppolo turns out to be a franchise quarterback. They gave him a lot of money, and I just don't know if the offense is up to snuff yet.
Well, at least running the football, the Niners doing a good job. Matt Breida, by the way, leading the league. That's right, Matt Breida leading the league in rushing.
Yeah, and they went out and signed Jarrett McKinnon, and he tears his ACL in practice, and you thought that would be a big loss because that was one of their big free agent signings in the offseason. That tells me that Shanahan does a good job with obviously play calling and putting players in position. But at the same time, really they're going to have to rely on Garoppolo.
And of course, the Rams 2-0. After 2 weeks, the only undefeated team in the NFC West. They will play the Chargers in the Battle of LA here in Week 3.
Thanks, guys. Up next, Trey Boston wore the mic against the Rams. We'll have that and inside the numbers. It wasn't pretty, but what can the Cardinals learn from what happened against LA?
Welcome back to Cards HQ.
Most head coaches like to bring in a player that they know and trust, and that's the case with Steve Wilks with safety Trey Boston playing for the Panthers for 3 seasons. Boston is one of those guys that when tough times hit, he is sure to keep things positive. He was wearing the mic in Los Angeles.
The sound and fury of NFL football. Wired.
It's a lovely day in the neighborhood. We're out here in LA. Beautiful day, about 84 degrees. Fair weather. Gotta love it. Hey man, let's go Gusto today, man. Hey, DB's on 2, 1, 2, DB. Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Let's have a day, man. Let's have a day. What's up, Buddha? What's up, Buddha? Yeah. Woo. Hey, let's go, man. 3 and out. Let's go. Buddha, go, Buddha! Hey, switch. Switch! LA, go! Alert screen! Crossers! Triangle! Good job. Good job, man. Good job. Good job, man.
What numbers exactly are we going to go inside? I mean, the Cardinals offense didn't put up many yards, 0 touchdowns, but there's a story to be told when you do go inside the numbers. So here it is, presented by La Mesa RV.
Where to begin after Sunday's shutout loss in the LA Coliseum? We'll start with the defense, who once again found themselves at a disadvantage in field position. The Rams' average starting field position was their 39-yard line, 20 yards better than Arizona's. The defense improved against the run, limiting the Rams to 90 yards on the ground and Todd Gurley to only 2.2 yards per rush. But Los Angeles found success through the air as quarterback Jared Goff threw for 354 yards and a touchdown. Much of his success came on 3rd down, as the Rams converted on 8 of 13 attempts. Receiver Brandon Cooks was Goff's top target, hauling in 7 receptions for 159 yards. Patrick Peterson managed to intercept Goff for the 22nd pick of his career, 7 of which have come against the Rams. Another sliver of a bright spot on defense. Defensive end Benson Mayowa finished the game with 7 tackles and 2 sacks. And defensive tackle Robert Kimdichie continued to be disruptive through 2 games, managing 5 tackles, including a tackle for a loss on Sunday. Offensively, Arizona wasn't productive by any standards. Big Red managed only 137 net yards, 5 first downs, and only 3.2 yards per play. Third down continues to be a problem, converting only 3 of 12 attempts. Overall, the second quarter has been the Cardinals' Achilles heel through 2 games, having been outscored 40-0 in that quarter. Larry Fitzgerald reached yet another milestone. Fitzgerald has caught a pass in 213 consecutive games, now the second longest streak in NFL history, behind Jerry Rice's 274 consecutive games. Larry Legend has had success against the next opponent, the Chicago Bears. The last time the 2 teams met in 2015, Fitz lit up the Bears for 112 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. In 3 career games against Chicago, number 11 has 25 receptions for 346 yards and 5 touchdowns.
So it's back to basics for the Cardinals as they take on the Bears on Sunday. Now, attitude and mindset are as important as anything heading into Week 3. I headed into the locker room to get a sense of where the team is at right now. Alongside Antoine Bethea, I mean, Antoine, is there a little bit of still shock over where you're at after 2 weeks, or are you guys past that? I know you're trying to remedy everything, but it's a little bit surprising the way that these games have unfolded.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think anybody in this locker room would think that we would be 0-2 and you know, what's almost 60-some points and haven't scored. So obviously there's a shock factor there. But you know, it's Week 3. We got the Bears coming up, so it gives us another opportunity to come out in front of our fans and try to, you know, put a better product out there on the field.
I know the goal line defense wasn't what you wanted, but can you take what you're able to do? Gurley averaging 2.2 yards a carry. Is there some positive there against the run, which I know is always number 1, right?
Yeah, there was some positives. You know, with Gurley being one of the top running backs in the league, to be able to hold him to, like, I think he had like 40-some yards. That's definitely a positive. But at the end of the day, you know, the biggest thing is, you know, trying to go out there to get the wins. Definitely some other things we have to improve on. Getting off the field on third down and things of that nature. So it's definitely something that we can piggyback on though.
What's the feeling in here right now? What's the attitude and the mindset? Again, it's early, new schemes, new coaches, a lot of new players as well. What's the feeling in here right now?
I mean, you can't have excuses. I mean, there's other teams out here that has, you know, new coaches or whatever the case may be. So those are just, those are just excuses. So for us in the locker room, you know, we just, you know, coming to work. You know, keeping our head down. Stay the course. It's definitely a process, and we just got to stick to the process and trust one another.
It's early in the week, but the Bears, I mean, does that make you all as a unit more motivated to come in a home game in front of the home crowd and really change everything around?
Yeah, I mean, it's next game up. Next game up, the Bears are our next opponent. So, you know, we're going to prepare this week, get ready for the Bears, and like I said, just come out on Sunday and put a better product out there on the field.
Up next, we've got the Wednesday report with Paul Calvisi, Week 3. And when the coach says we are going to evaluate everything, you can bet there will be changes this week. Stay tuned.
Cards HQ has been brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
Welcome back to Cards HQ. Quarterback Sam Bradford said after the game, "I wish there was one thing that I could tell you, that if we got that fixed, it would instantly make everything better. But unfortunately, there are a list of things for the Cardinals. It comes down to making a few plays and then hoping that confidence builds." With more on the preparation for the Chicago Bears, here's Paul Calvisi with the Wednesday report.
Yeah, Jody, you know, with NFL overreaction, it always feels like the sky is falling, right? Today in more ways than one with the rain. So here comes the less is more game plan in the name of less mistakes, more first downs. Remember, 5 last week, the fewest in a game since 1950.
Trying to simplify things with the game plan, allowing guys to play fast. That's what I saw today.
Just make sure that, you know, the plays that we have in the game plan, everyone's comfortable with, you know, versus multiple looks. Just really feel like, we own the plays that are in the game plan.
All right, Coach Wilks stressing Sam is the man. He's the starter, but he also added that, yes, he can have more confidence, more patience in the pocket.
Yeah, I think there have been, instances where it can help those guys out, and maybe step up and climb through some of the traffic.
How close? Can you tell? This close. This close.
That's also how close it appears the Cardinals are to getting a starter back on both sides of the ball, Marcus Golden and Jermaine Gresham.
That is a major plus when you start talking about a team that's 0-2, that needs a spark, needs some energy. Those two guys definitely bring that.
All right, starting right tackle Andre Smith back on the field, had the elbow brace. He's still day-to-day. Larry Fitzgerald went through stretching, did not practice, but when asked,
Larry will be ready to go on Sunday, no question.
And there's no doubt that the Cardinals would also like to feed their other main weapon on offense, David Johnson, run or pass.
If you give him enough opportunities, he's eventually going to make a play. And I think it's just, staying committed to finding ways to get him the ball.
We got to come off the ball. We got to create a new line of scrimmage. We got to get to the second level to give David the opportunity to be able to get one-on-one, with the DBs.
All right, and finally, we'll leave you with the other part of the game plan, how the Cardinals want to take out that 0-2 start on the Bears.
You want to go out and you want to play well, and when you don't, I think it's very frustrating. You look at it as a challenge, look at it as a way to find a solution.
Thanks, Paul. Maybe it's simple, underestimating the growing pains that come along with new coaches and new schemes on offense and defense. But what about the physicality that was supposed to be the calling card of the 2018 Cardinals? The two can go hand in hand. If you're thinking instead of reacting, that causes players to lose that aggressiveness. Just a thought, but even if true, the Cardinals have to find a way to remedy all of these issues. Now this week, they come back at home in front of the home crowd, taking on the Chicago Bears. Until next week, I'm Jody Jackson. Thanks for watching Cards HQ.